Good morning. This is Alan Fogelquist. This is Thursday, July 23rd, 2020. What follows is just a record of what's going on in this household and with a few comments on miscellaneous topics. I'm using these recordings. It's kind of a daily log of events in my own life and um, what I can learn about world events and events in the United States and in the state of Oregon where I live. I've been staying at home since March 1st, 2020. I've only left the house occasionally to go half a block away to the mailbox. I live in a homeowner's. I live in a residential community where there are individual homes, but where mailboxes are not attached to each individual home. There are sort of community mailboxes in a stand outside on the street. One of the things I've been observing from this neighborhood is that very few people seem to be paying much attention to the coronavirus or the dangers of uh, contagion or transmitting the disease or catching the disease from others. They seem to be walking around in groups of people, almost none of them with masks on, and especially in the house right across the street from me, I've seen over a dozen people in the last couple of weeks come in and out of the house and just go walking around as if there were no danger whatsoever. And every day I follow local, national, and international news um, on television and on YouTube, and I also read the online editions of major newspapers and news sites from around the world, from just about every region of the world. I read Asian news sites from Japan, Hong Kong, Australia. I read major newspapers from Great Britain, Canada, and the United States. I don't look at sources only from one point of view, and I try as much as possible to gather important factual information that affects my life and the lives of large numbers of people in this neighborhood, in this state, and around the world. I'm by profession a historian and also a medical and psychiatric social worker. Um, I worked in the field of drug rehabilitation at a mental health center and in community organization. That was quite a few years ago. Then I returned to the university to pursue studies in history, economics, political science, sociology. Um, my degree was in history, but my approach was always transdisciplinary or multidisciplinary. And I try to obtain factual information from multiple sources. There's some disinformation and misinformation that's being transmitted around the world, um, intentionally or sometimes unintentionally, and sometimes a rumor or a false report uh, spreads around the world, not only even in major newspapers, but for the most part, the major newspapers like the New York Times and news sources such as CNN, the Washington Post, the Guardian, and Le Monde in France, and many others try to present uh, important news um, uh, on ongoing events. And much of the reporting is simply factual and straightforward without commentary or efforts to interpret or spin the news. And then there are, of course, sources of distorted information or false information or propaganda, which are, for example, in many commercials exaggerate or hype up the value of products that they're trying to sell. Political advertisements favor one candidate against another, but some are definitely much fairer and closer to reality than others. And in the last couple of years, there's been a huge jump in the quantity of distorted information, propaganda, and sometimes outright and intentional lies, so that the average citizen who wants to find out what's going on in the world is faced with a difficult task. Some people simply go by instinct, or they base their opinion on hunches, and the hunches are very often affected by what they learn from their parents and their childhood upbringing and the prejudices of their particular social group or political group or the political party of their parents. When people go to a university and begin an advanced education in social sciences, in history, in journalism, or in science, they learn professional ethics, and they learn about objective methodologies of seeking the facts and seeking the truth about reality. After they graduate and look for jobs, sometimes they find themselves in occupations where they are paid to advance a certain idea, to promote a certain product, and what they learned about objective and factual journalism, history, or objective and balanced analysis is sometimes forgotten. However, we do live in an interconnected world, starting from our community or our locality, our family, our workplace environments where we are in personal contact and interaction with other people, some also commercially at commercial establishments where we buy groceries, supplies of daily products of daily use. And in order to function in such a society, we need to have reliable, factual information, and we can get it. There are well expressed, well organized, factual articles in newspapers. There are good news presentations in the mass media, presented by responsible and ethical journalists and presenters, and so it isn't really difficult to get essential, important information on a daily basis. Now that's exactly what I try to do. I'm retired. I no longer work for an outside agency or a company or a government office where I'm expected to follow a particular political line or to promote some product. I'm just simply an ordinary citizen who's trying to make the most of daily life, and in order to do so in a complicated, advanced technological society, I need to have information about what's going on in my community, what's going on in the world, and what the characteristics of any essential goods and services that I need to buy on a daily basis. So every day I systematically try to gather reliable information on matters of major human importance, on matters of direct importance to me and people living in my community, but also on more distant events that eventually will affect my life and the life of people around me directly. I try to base my thinking on objective analysis combined with responsibility and ethics. I believe that the best society for human beings is a fair society where everybody gets a fair deal and where each individual is able to meet his or her essential needs, and where the society and the economy and the economic system is providing for the needs of all members of the society, and where all members of the society behave ethically and responsibly. And the maximum freedom and the maximum choice for every individual is conditioned by the choice that other individuals allow. Individuals who are irresponsible, who behave in a criminal, predatory fashion and harm other individuals or exploit other individuals, are depriving those individuals of their livelihood, and they are harming other individuals and preventing them from achieving the maximum individual well-being compatible with membership in a society. And that is a big problem today, that there are many individuals and organizations that have discarded ethics altogether and are behaving in a completely selfish, predatory, or greedy and power-hungry, self-serving way, which deprives other individuals of their rights and of their power. No individual And there's a half-cocked understanding of individual rights, which are that any individual, however powerful, can do whatever he pleases, no matter how much it harms other individuals, how much it exploits other individuals. And this is the source of unequal and unjust power and unequal and unfair access to goods and services and information. And so I believe, as a citizen, that we need to respect the rights of other individuals. Today, there is a horrible coronavirus epidemic, and it's absolutely certain that it is possible to prevent or the spread of this virus by behaving responsibly and acting on the basis of the most up-to-date information and understanding that we have about this virus. So in my daily gathering of information, I'm paying a lot of attention to the coronavirus. And I'm going to end this one video right here.